What do I say about Tony Gattari? Far out. He's all right. So I had Tony coming down in August last year. So pumped up. I get a phone call at 12:30 a.m. in the morning, the night of, and Tony says, I'm stuck. I said, what do you mean you're stuck? You're stuck in the toilet up in the Novotel? Are you here? I'm stuck in Melbourne. I can't make it. I thought, wow. Like, he did everything he could to get into these rooms. Flew from Adelaide to Melbourne during the day just so he could possibly get a flight from Melbourne to Sydney. But there was the time where there was big storms over Sydney Airport and couldn't do it. But did absolutely everything he could to get here. So to finally have him here for 2 sessions this morning, you know, I'm just so grateful for. Now, Tony Gattari, he is an international speaker, all right? He plays a big game. He has worked for some of the world's biggest companies. He still does work for some of the world's biggest companies. Flying to Fiji next week, off to Papua Guinea the week after, to talk to some amazing people. He's about sales. There is a certain approach. Who wants to know a little bit more about sales? Who could sell more? Who could sell more? Everybody? I think yes. So Tony's the guru of being able to get people to unpack the process, and then he will help you put the pieces together. All right, but once again, the only way you are going to get as much out of this as possible is if you play it 100%, give Tony your 100% full attention and play the game. All right? So the way we roll in Breakthrough for Business, because we've got amazing speakers, anytime I introduce anybody, if you could all get up on your feet and give them a huge round of applause, I'd like to introduce Tony Gattari.
Hey. Great, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Oh, has anybody, because I've done some gigs in Wollongong, would have been a number of years ago. So has anybody seen me speak in the past? A few of you, yes, yes. I used to be a lot fatter. Actually, I've lost 32 kilos in 16 weeks. Yeah. But, you know, when you're 50 years old and you're fat and you look at yourself stark naked in the mirror and you go, shit, you're fat? Oh, that was me. I went through the process of change and applied it in myself, which is effectively awareness is the first process of change, followed by acknowledgement. You know what I used to say? I'm fat because I'm big boned. What a lie. So I got really serious. I looked at myself naked. I said, yuck. Yucky, yucky, pooey, pooey, yucky. And then the whole history of diabetes in my family and heart disease and saying, mate, great, really successful, gonna die young. That's a good life. So just made a decision and read a lot. Didn't go on a diet. Diets don't work. Don't believe in diets. Statistically, people put more weight on after they come off a diet. So I said, must be a better way. And read probably about 5 books. 6 or 7 books, all said the same thing. I go, wow, must be some logic here. Gave it a whack, tried it, and extraordinary. Changed my life. Won't go back. And I'm now running my first marathon in September, the 22nd, Sydney Marathon. I did insanely on the weekend in Melbourne on the Coorong Trail. I ran for 26.2 kilometres non-stop. Man, wow. When I run, I feel the presence of God. It's like chariots of fire stuff. I thought it was fantastic. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's been one of those little things that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to get fit. And I sort of said, you know, it's great to just do it and actually really enjoy the process. Now, I've got a bit of a PowerPoint slide, so I will just share with you sales. Now, just so I've got an understanding, business owners, can you put up your hand? Like, okay, well, stacks of business owners, great fertile ground. Question to you. Let's define selling. What is sales? Anyone, just pop your hand, so just yell it out. Don't need a speaker, you've got big loud voices, huh? Training. Trading. Okay, great. Anyone else? Define selling. Generating money. Okay. Anyone else?
Just providing a product or service that somebody needs.
Providing a product or service that someone needs. Great. Anything else? Yep.
Finding the best solution for your client.
Finding the best solution. Love it. Okay, that's cool. I get that one. That rocks my world a bit. Anything else? Building a relationship. Very good. Because do we truly close a sale or we open an opportunity? Yeah, very good. So okay, let me give you an example. I'll share my story because my story is incredibly interesting in this sales profession. I used to hate sales with an absolute detestable attitude. Because when I was in the corporate world at Harvey Norman, I occasionally, because the computer division was so successful, I used to get the media ring me up asking for quotes a lot. And, because Harvey Norman was growing and computers was becoming the most dominant category of Harvey Norman back in 1990 to 2000, where it actually eclipsed electronics and furniture as the greatest single division. And during this success, I was the general manager and I was the spokesperson for the computer division, which was like the growth juggernaut at that stage. This is pre-internet, so you get it, okay? And I remember journalists phoning me up and they would quote me as super salesperson Tony Gattari from Harvey Norman. And I remember ringing them back because I was an arrogant person at that stage and saying, you don't understand, I'm not in sales, I'm in marketing. You don't understand, I'm not in sales. And the question I've got is, why did I have such a violent reaction towards the word sales? Because it was scary? Yeah. Here's my problem. My problem is that I had a mindset that in order to be successful at selling, I had to effectively change my value system, and my value system would then determine my behaviour. See, I viewed salespeople as a less than honourable profession. Sounds terrible? Okay, I found it was almost like, okay, there's no disrespect because I actually do a lot of training in the car industry, but the stereotypical used car salesperson that you have probably seen on TV that has been portrayed in some sort of movie. Game plan here. If you want to be really successful at selling, it's not about skills. It's about mindset. What happened to me, and it was almost a transference, is that I don't sell. I have never sold. I help people to solve their problems. And I go, my God, you can do that well. Every single business owner, you're all in the same business. You talk about your products and features. I fundamentally believe that you're in the business of solving people's problems. I am in the problem-solving business. And the great thing about humanity and the great thing about the Western world is that every single person has a problem. Ain't that the truth? Even though we truly don't, we feel that we do because we're playing an insane game. If you understand the game, you can win the game. You just have to understand the game. What I'd also like to show you today is not only to solve that problem, but here's the potent stuff. How to actually show a prospect that they actually have a problem. That's powerful magic stuff. Because I have to move you from ignorance to awareness. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And here's how you don't do that. You don't vomit over a prospect. Which could easily happen because we come from a product background and our curse is the curse of knowledge. It's the ability, the profound ability to ask great questions and listen with a heart to care. And then ask the deeper question, how does that make you feel? And I'll stir you emotionally. I will know in a seat you're getting uncomfortable. I will not hold back. Because guess why? Because I actually fundamentally believe it's my right to actually solve your problem. So that's, we cool talking about that? Is that pretty okay? Yeah, because I'm going to do a bit of that, because that's really, I'm going to get you to, I'm not going to put a screen, I'm going to get behind the screen, you're going to see there is no magic, there is a process and a system. If you understand the system, you can apply the system in all. The other variable is we're all in sales. If you're not selling a product, you're selling to your team. If you're not selling to your team, you're selling to your partner. Because selling is about influence. And understanding the principles of selling is actually one of the foundations that truly make successful entrepreneurs. Truly successful entrepreneurs are really good at selling vision. So I just wanted to actually unpack all of this because it's so relevant in all aspects. First slide, love this slide. One of my favourite super duper 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 slides. This is my little magic formula of how any business is built. This is not so much on sales, this is overall business. Just want to unpack this because I think it's really important to understand what I'm talking about here. Any business, doesn't matter what business it is, operates on these variables. If you understand the variables, you can actually test and measure everything, because selling and business is about psychology and science. Some of us are good at the psychology, others are hopeless at the science. Some are good at the science, but terrible at the psychology. If you want to be brilliant, you get both working together in one unity. It is powerful stuff. Here is the science. The science of any business is number one. Any business has existing customers. Got it. Your job in existing customers is to retain as many as possible. Okay, the greatest single opportunity in any business that is struggling is not to find new customers, it's to reactivate lost or inactive customers, period. Why? Because you've got a database. Some customers have bought, some customers have not bought. The reason they haven't bought or they've come off the trail is not because you've pissed them off, but basically every single year about 10% of your customers don't buy from you again. One of the greatest single strategies of instantaneous improvement is to reactivate lost and inactive clients before you do anything else. Now, we had a client, they only did this one strategy, they improved their sales by 30%. Guess how much it cost them? A letter plus a phone call. Oh my goodness. What, I didn't have to do Google AdWords? No. I didn't have to do advertising? No. Just that? Yes. Got a database? Milk your database. Smash it so hard, look at everything. So that equals your retained customers. Now, it's really important to give good service because good service retains good customers. The next thing, this is in business. And Greg will share great passions on how to generate leads. The number thing is every business can't just survive off its existing customers because by default you're going to lose some. So you're actually going to work off a smaller pie. So effectively you have to generate leads and inquiries. And the whole game in business is to do that as cheaply as possible. It's reducing the cost of a lead. And I love the internet because to me the internet allows me to measure the cost of a lead. That's what I love it for, because I'm always trying to smash it down. How can I get it lower? I'm spending too much money on a lead. And predominantly that's the role of marketing. Marketing in small businesses is about generating leads, right? If you think it's about branding, you'll go broke in the process. A lot of companies, they say, oh, you know, I've got to have a nice looking logo. No. If you're in small business, all you got to do is get the bloody phone ringing. but the logo doesn't matter. Just get the phone ringing. Get the online inquiries going. Get people visiting your stores. Got it. Marketing. Is your marketing doing that? No. Stop doing it. Now the other thing, and this is where sales comes in. This is a doozy. Your number of leads times your conversion rate equals your acquired customers. Now I've been to many seminars and I get it, and I love internet marketing and I love marketing and I do a lot of marketing talk, but between you and me, marketing is bullshit if you can't sell. It's almost like having $100 bills and burning them up. If you can't convert an inquiry into a sale, you still lose the game. And here's what a lot of companies do. They spend too much money on lead generation and they don't improve conversion rates. Here's the tragedy. They don't even know what their conversion rate is. And I'm no genius, but I'm figuring as soon as you measure it, you can improve it. I'm going, wow. Proverbs says, Einstein says, definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You know what super insanity is? Doing the same thing and not even knowing what result you're getting. So I reckon today, I want to help you on conversion rate. Because I reckon if I could take your conversion rate and let's just say it's 20%, 2 out of every 10. And if I could take that to 40%, you go, Gattari, I just made money. But you don't want to accelerate the car until you've actually got the conversion sorted out. That retained plus acquired customers equal the number of customers. Really simple. Then, when I get the number of customers, my role in life is to actually, I don't know, milk the cow. My job then is to actually get you to come back for more. What am I trying to do? You bought from me once, I want you to buy from me again and again and again and again. That's why I delight you with the experience, because I'm actually creating a customer for life. Lifetime value of a customer is the most important concept. Here's what we do. We have a poverty mentality when it comes to the first customer. I will go negative to go positive if it is in the right scenario. If I believe that the lifetime value of a customer is actually going to be amazingly big in the future, I will make them an insane offer to start the journey. Some people say, I'll never do that, Tony. I said, well, probably won't be able to convert. The other thing that I then got to do, and this is the brilliance, is then I've got to increase the average transaction size. Now, my good mates Harvey Normans, they were masters at this. McDonald's are masters at this. McDonald's are really good at it. They're even better at it now because unlike in the past where a 16-year-old says, do you want fries with that? They don't even do that anymore because they can't trust a 16-year-old who is not particularly motivated to say that. Because it doesn't matter how much training you give a 16-year-old, if the 16-year-old is only there in a transient job, they don't really give a shit. I get it. So what do? They attract you with this delightful menu board. And you go in there and you go, I just want a Big Mac. And then, but they say, Tony, if you buy this Big Mac with a Coke and fries, the value will be better. Who's been to a service station recently just to buy one drink and they've given you an offer that if you buy 2 drinks, okay, and you don't really want 2 drinks but you still do anyway? Who's done that? Look at that. That is profound. Like you look at that and say, man, why can't we do that in our business? Man, it's just the power of suggestion. Go figure. That equals sales. So that's the sales process. Now, because I'm a business junkie and I don't just operate in sales, any business, there are also other activities, which is sales less my cost of goods sold, which is usually product and the labour that is associated to that product, equals my gross profit, and my gross profit less my expenses, which are those fixed expenses in a business, equals net profit. The game is not to maximise that. The game in life, in business, is to maximise net profit, period. So fundamentally, all this formula says, do you want to be brilliant at this? Greatest single principle I can give you is what you inspect, you improve, and what you measure, you manage. If I'm not measuring the variables that make up sales, how can I improve it? As soon as you measure it, I will guarantee you 120% you'll improve it. Why? Principle of measurement always leads to improvement. Love it. Next slide. Interesting. Makes a lot of sense. Got it? We're always challenged by this. 60% worldwide study of people in the profession of sales never ask for the order. Question is why? Any answers? What? Fear. Fear of what? Rejection, of course. Fear of failure. See, you can't fail if you never ask, so therefore you haven't failed. I don't like rejection. I don't wake up and say, oh, gee whiz, I can't wait to be rejected today. It's not like you're not wired that way. But essentially, it is amazing how we will do tasks in our business to avoid rejection. It's called paperwork. Still to this day, I have to make 5 cold calls every day. Why? Because I know it's a game. I've called some will, some won't, so what? Who's next? And the greatest single mind challenge I have is still to this day is my fear of rejection. That's why. And you know, and business owners, because I'm not accountable to anybody, I don't have to do sales. I can get so busy working in it that I actually forget to work on it. Have a look at this. 4% who ask for the order 6 or more times in different ways, in different techniques, over different times, they take up 60% of all sales. So the 4% who are able to continue to be persistent even when there is initial rejection are able to account for 60% of all sales. Now, selling is a very interesting dynamic, and it's almost like gates. Let me show you the gates now that I actually think are really interesting now that the customer has to go through. Because I think the customer is changing, and I think sales has changed. Many of you might have been brought up on the classic sales training of Brian Tracy, the classic sales training of Zig Ziglar, the classic sales training of Anthony or Tony Hopkins. Anybody heard of these dudes? Okay? Classic guys. But here's the deal. 1960s. America. 1960s. Pre-internets. World has changed. What has fundamentally changed? The power has shifted towards the customer. The customer is not ignorant anymore. There's an old proverb, where there is mystery, there is margin. There is no mystery anymore. What I have to realise is respect the intelligence and the dignity of the prospect, that they're not an idiot. And they probably know a lot more than they're leading on. So what are these gates? How do I sort of, what are the gates that I have to go through? And I'd like you, as we're going through these 9 gates, ask yourself the question, ask about a team, and a rating of 1 to 10. How are we going there? Because maybe the answer is in these 9 gates saying, wow, we're good at 2 gates, the other 7, we're pretty poor. How do I get someone to commit? So number 1 gate of commitment is this guy for real? The greatest single quality that I now see is be yourself. I get scripts, don't get me wrong, I get robotic stuff, scripts are structure. But you can't actually be something you're not, because ultimately the customer can actually sense that you're actually sort of a robot. Who has ever been approached by someone on the phone that you actually know is reading a script? How do you feel? Like honestly, how do you feel? You're annoyed, right? Because they don't even listen to you. It's almost like you ask a question and they're still on the script. It's like, what has happened to your humanity here? Your job is to have a conversation with somebody to actually see if you can solve their problem. You've been trained by some little robot saying, just do the script. I get it. Let's not insult the customer's intelligence. So I reckon you've got to be real. Now, you're real, and this is going to sound terrible. I do this all the time. You have to make yourself vulnerable. You actually have to show your limp. You have to actually say, I don't have it all right. You have to have the courage to say no when you've been told to say yes to everything. Because that is why trust is built. It's not through perfection, it's through direction. I get it. I can trust you because you know what? You are breaking the mold of a salesperson. You are becoming a trusted advisor, which is essentially the positioning you want to get to. Number 2, is he telling me the truth? Now, it is incredibly important that you have this powerful arsenal behind you, because irrespective of any marketing material you put together, I'll go bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Okay, you understand that completely. We are living in a skeptical society. The believability is essentially in your other customers, what they say about you. It is so important that you actually have testimonials. It is so important that you have endorsements. It is so important that you have case studies. It is so important that you actually share openly and say, speak to one of our clients. Don't trust me. In fact, you shouldn't trust me. And they go, great. Number 3, is he knowledgeable and competent? So I reckon you've got to have credibility. You actually got to know what you're talking about. And this is where product knowledge is important, you know, and you've got to know, and you've got to be able to, wow, you're an authority. You can't fake it until you make it, because here's the problem. Customer knows more than they lead on because they've probably done their research already. It's called Google. And what they do is, I've seen this, they ask you questions in knowledge of knowing the answer to test you whether you actually know what you're talking about. And they don't tell you to rack off. You know what they say? Oh, call me back in a week. Because some of us do not like rejecting people. We just hope they stop phoning us. Is he appropriate for me? Am I a good fit? Really important. Number 5, is he listening or just peddling? Like, is he doing the traditional stuff of, here is my PowerPoint slide, here are my brochures, let me now, forget the language, vomit over you. Because I want to get myself puffed up, because I want to show you all my amazing knowledge. Happens. Now, it will happen if you've come from a technical background. Some technical people struggle in the area of sales because they have the curse of knowledge, and they sometimes want to share that. You almost have to actually make complex things simple, not simple things complex. But we have this desire for complexity, because why? I don't know, it's a bit of an ego thing. You know, I do it all the time. I work in companies, and I'm telling you, the memos that I have seen from these companies, I said, you can say the same thing in 2 lines that you've actually done in 2 pages. But they say, no, you don't understand, Tony. We have to speak this way. Overall, can he be relied on? Sword safety. Got it. Number 7, do I understand enough about what he's going to do for me? Am I comfortable with him? Do I really, really do it? So that's important. Number 8, am I making the best choice versus other choices? Superiority, comparison. They're going to do that. I recognise they're going to do that. Why don't I do that for them? Great car organisations don't hide the fact they've got competition. Here's what they do. They create a checklist. So, hey, we know you're going to do this. You're not stupid. So guess what? We'll save you time. We'll do it for you. Of course, ours just looks far superior because we're ticking all the ones that we're really good at. Number 9, am I paying a fair price? Because price is a formula, and it's a very simple formula. Value for money is price over benefits. What a lot of companies do is they don't highlight the benefits, they lower the price to win the deal. 2 ways to play the game. How have we articulated in our marketing the benefits? Not the features. We can get very feature frenzy. Got to actually smash the benefits. Now, I'm going to give you this as I read a lot of sales books. And I just wanted to share with you an insight into one of the better sales books that I have read recently. I do a lot of complex sales. Some of the sales that I do take around 2 to 3 years to convert. One of my clients is a conversion franchise. It's called Laser Plumbing and Electrical. We do some work with Smith & Sons. In fact, I'm doing their Victorian conference or their franchise conference in the next couple of weeks. And we are essentially a business that goes to electrical and plumbing contractors and convinces them they need to surrender their business name, okay, that they've built over the last 40 years and call themselves Laser Plumbing Artarmon. Now, that is a tough gig. Why is it a tough gig? Because they don't even want to speak to us, because they think, what in goodness me do I need to do that for? Now, what I've realised, and this is essentially really important, there are 5 different types of salespeople that you'll actually see. The question I've got, who is the most successful? Who is the most successful in simple sales and who is the most successful in complex sales? Now, I'm going to give you a simple sale. A simple sale is a retail sale. Someone comes to me, okay, and they want to buy a lounge suite. Okay, the need is already there. That's a simple sale. A complex sale is where I'm trying to create the need. Who here is in more complex sales environments? Okay, who's more in simple sales? Yeah, okay, so it's a combination of both. I want to show you essentially the 5 different types of sales reps. Number 1, the hard worker. Always willing to go the extra mile, doesn't give up easily, self-motivated, independent, interested in feedback and development. Okay, sweat equity, puts in the hours, gets the results, just works really hard. Number 2, the challenger. Okay, always has a different view of the world, understands the customer's businesses, loves to debate, loves to push the customer. But hang on, I'm not supposed to upset you. I'm supposed to hug the tree with you and say kumbaya. But I've been told in that you're supposed to be liked by everybody. Next one is the relationship builder. Builds strong advocates in the customer's organisations, generous in giving time and help to others, gets along with everybody, is genuine and accessible, gives help. The warm one. Next one is the lone wolf. Follows the own instincts, self-assured and difficult to control. And the last one is the reactive problem solver. Reliably responds to internal and external stakeholders, ensures that all problems are solved, and is very detail orientated. Question I've got. In complex sales, in sales that could take some time, that could be what I consider to be consultancy sales, finance sales, who out of all of those 5 do you think is the most successful? Now, this is a study that was done. The challenger smashes everybody. The challenger, the person that pushes the boundaries, the person that actually challenges the prospect, the person that says, hey, you've got a problem and I'm going to highlight the problem back to you and I'm not going to hold back. The person that actually says, hey, let's do something to solve this is more successful. Timid salespeople have skinny kids. I get it. The relationship builder, brilliant at account management. Damn shit at business development. But I like account management. We'll do account management. But if you want to do business development, you want to get business development, get either a lone wolf or a challenger. But they're hard to manage. Of course they're hard to manage. I know that. Now this is this is low complex, this is high complex. Just have a look at this. In high complex sales, the challenger is very likely to succeed in complex sales environments. Look at the relationship builder, 4%. In simple sales, low complexity, the relationship builder is 11%. The dominant one is the hard worker. Now, what does this challenger do that is so incredibly good? And this resonates so much with the internet at the moment. It is insane. Number one, they offer the customer unique perspectives. They actually say, hey, what about if we did this? Can I just give you a different way of looking at this situation? Number two, they have incredibly strong way to communication skills. So they don't do a monologue, they do a dialogue. They're truly into conversations. They know the individual. Now this is the D. What they do is they instinctively know that if I'm selling to you, there are two drivers. The first driver is the business driver. Really simple, you know, I've got to make more money, I've got to reduce costs. But they also know that that person has individual drivers. This challenger knows both of those because he realises the only radio station that you're listening to is what's in it for me. And he gets that. And he understands that if I can help you to solve your problem, not only your organisation problem, but your immediate problem in your workplace, then we've got traction. And this is a doozy, is comfortable discussing money. Here's their conversation. This is going to cost you some coin. Doesn't hide it, actually prepares it. Doesn't actually back away saying that's too expensive. Of course it is expensive. It's the best solution. So? But I can get it cheaper. Can you? Is that wise? Is this an investment or an expense? I don't know. I'm just figuring. And here's the deal. Can pressure the customer. This is what they do brilliantly. They do three things. If you were to learn these three things and put them in your sales career, you'd probably be absolutely fantastic. Number one, they teach. They produce great content. Why do I got to produce great content? Because we live in a content-rich society. All right, so they teach for differentiation. They educate the prospect. They actually don't go in there trying to sell. They genuinely want to go there and help. And if they get the sale, that's well and good, but they're not going there for the sale. But by default, they get the sale because they have an attitude of giving. Number two is they tailor, they customise. They say to the prospect, I don't know if we can help you, but what I'd like to do, could I come back to you in 4 days because I need to speak to our people to see what we can do. Now, there is a likelihood that you could actually try to sell them a product then and there. You already know the answer. Delay it. Create the magic of customisation. And the last thing they do is they take control. You know what they say? They say things like, next steps. What they're doing is they're taking control of the agenda, so they're taking a leadership position as opposed to the prospect being the leader, they become the leader. Quite remarkable if you could do this. There's a couple of things. So, great principles of selling. You've got to believe in yourself. Pretty simple. You've got to believe in your product, got to have a good product, and you've got to believe in your company you work for. Okay? When people know that we care, they care about what we know. Okay? So it's a spirit transfer. The other thing is about selling is about people, it's not about product. Okay? And I know it's not about product, and everyone says we don't have the right product, we don't have the right price. Your key differentiation is not in your product. It is in your sales process. It is in your sales system. Because that then becomes the intellectual property that actually creates the nucleus that no one can copy. Because every time you've got a good product, someone else will copy that product. We know inherently people love to buy things. We hate to be sold to. We love to buy. We have churches called Westfields where people pay homage to the shopping gods. I've got daughters, shop till you drop, retail therapy, shopaholic. Okay, we love to buy. Your job is not to sell. Your job is to help people to buy, because people love to buy, because buy is a word that induces pleasure and joy. When you say, I want to sell you something, yucky language frames it up incorrectly. Don't say the word cost, say the word investments. Different language. Now, the question I've got is, why do people buy? Now, here's the deep art. What I've got to do, if I want to be brilliant at selling and marketing, it's really important that I understand deeply why people buy. Why do people buy my products and services? This is not the features, but somehow I've got to go deeper than the features. I've got to work out the benefits of why they buy my products. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up the general reasons why people buy in the marketplace. All of you will have some of these drivers going on in your business. The key is, does our marketing and sales articulate this strongly enough? Have we made it really obvious? Now, here's the point. The customer is never going to tell you the reasons why they're buying. Why? Because in many ways, they might think they're less than noble. There is a dark side to us all. And the key is understanding what is called the ego and driving the ego. It's the emotional side of Gattari that I do things that I don't know why they do them, but I'm driven by them. What are the true drivers of the Western world? Let's go through them. Number one, people want to increase their profit. Number two, they want to increase their satisfaction. Number three, they want to increase their confidence. Number four, they want to increase their convenience, and they want to increase their pleasure. Pleasure marketplaces are booming at the moment. If I could invest in a cruise line, I would. We are certainly living longer, and we have an enormous generation of baby boomers who have basically said, screw the kids, let's spend it. And they go on cruises. My dad's 80 years old and he still goes on a cruise. 80 years old. Great market. The other reason that we buy is that I want to improve my image. Now, they're not going to tell you this. They want to improve their status. So much of education is about status. I want to get ahead. I want to get to the top. Show me how I can get to the top. Can I have an express course to the top? They want to improve their earnings. They want to earn more bucks. They want to improve their customer relations, their employer relations, their family relations. Number three reason, this is big in insurance, they want to protect their money, their property, their assets, their self, their family and their staff. They want to protect their nest egg. Unfortunately, fear is a great sales weapon. Ask the insurer, anyone in insurance here? It is, isn't it? Now, let's be honest. It's like, wow. And the greatest fear is sharing a war story of someone else who didn't. And they go, oh my goodness me, they didn't. What else people want to... Now, this is big. We live in a time-poor society. We are incredibly busy, okay? The greatest thing that you could do for any of your clients, anyone, is to actually reduce their worry, their risk, their trouble, their expenses. What do people want? They want less hassle and they want more control. If I can provide that for you, I will actually have you for life. It's not a question of money, it's a question of help me to reduce this in a chaotic life that I have. Give me order that I crave. And they want to make money, they want to make good impressions, and they want to make satisfied customers. And people want to save time, money, and energy. Interesting. Great franchise is gyms. You think of gyms. Where did it found itself? In lawn mowing services. What was lawn mowing services truly about? It was essentially saving people time. Because what gyms is quite simply this. They look at industries where customers are time poor, they know they have to do this stuff, but they would prefer to get someone else to do it if they could. So where do they think? Lawnmower. Oh man, worked really hard over the weekend, got to mow the lawns. Are you kidding? Man, if I could just get someone to do it, I'll pay them $50. Great business. Now, let's talk about this. How long have I got, Steve? 5 minutes. This is the deep stuff now. This is the stuff that I love training on. And in the second session, I'm going to go so deep into this. This is a really simple concept. It's nothing particularly major, but this is the deal. And you have to work with me on this. You have to actually go, every single person is much more emotional than they give themselves credit for. They overemphasize their logic, they underemphasize their emotion. Every single sale that I've done is truly not about logic. It's about emotion. My job is not to massage your head, it's to massage your heart. And here's the key. This is what I love doing, is that I see every prospect, every customer, every interaction like a bank account. And I realise that I could try to withdraw from that bank account, but I can't withdraw from a bank account until I've deposited into that bank account. And here's what a lot of companies do. They try to withdraw too easy. How do they do it normally? What would they say where they try to make you withdraw? What are the tactics that they would use? Here's one. Lowest price. What is it saying? I don't want to make a deposit. All I want to do is make a withdrawal, and guess what I'm willing? I'm willing to surrender my profitability in order to do that. Or some sleazy tactic that they've found out about. Manipulation, lying, that's traditional. The other approach is, and I've seen this in many, is that organisations who are brilliant at depositing and they never make a withdrawal. Here is the key. Let's just say I'm prospecting to Steve. My job is to look at Steve as an empty vessel. And all I'm doing is that through my conversations, through my content, through my delivery, through my meetings, I'm building up his emotional bank account. And I'm starting at zero, and almost I'm looking at the person saying, when have I earned the right to ask for the withdrawal? In fact, I will guarantee I won't even have to ask for it. Steve will ask me for it because I've earned the right. You know what Steve will say? Tony, how can you help me? Got the sale. Why? Because I've invested emotionally into that bank account at such a level, with such intensity, with such precision, with such focus. He's going, man, I trust you. I want to show you how to do that really quickly. Some of you feel the answer is, give me the killer closing technique. It's not. You don't kill a customer anyway. And I hate the terminology like we're going to hunt for customers. Like Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned, when you hunt for something, the animals are running away from you. I think you want to fish. The other side is that some of you are brilliant at depositing. Some of you are brilliant at somehow engaging the prospect and really giving them profound information. But for some reason, unknown to you, you never ask for the order. Here's the thing. Someone must get the order. What I'd love to do is passionately show you how to do this brilliantly. Because I reckon the game, if I could do something today, is just improve your conversion rate. You'd be happy as like, man, this is great. And I'll show you how to do this emotionally. One of the greatest single qualities that you can have is this innate ability to shift your style to suit the customer style. Now, if you're not in sales, trust me, you still need to do this because guess what? You're managing a team. And managing a team is about influence, and influencing is about understanding the triggers that are important to you. And when you come back, I'm going to actually show you how to pick them, how to profile them, and what strategies work well for that buyer personality, but what actually don't work well for that buyer personality. Because here's what books try to do. They try to give you one approach suits all. It doesn't. It's the ability to shift gears, change your style, change your presentation to suit the audience. When I'm presenting in a group, I will be totally pragmatic here. I'm operating in all 4 quadrants because I don't know what you are. When I'm going 0 to 0, I will shift emphasis to one particular style, which is your dominant style, and here's what you do. I like you. Why? Because you like people who are like yourself. And here's the greatest single revelation you've got. Do not judge a prospect. Just because they're arrogant doesn't mean they don't buy. And here's what we do. We say, I don't like him. Don't. Just embrace they are who they are. They're not going to change. But understanding the triggers that are important to you, which could absolutely repulse you, go against your complete value system. But understand they're important to them and focus on those triggers. So when we get back, we're going to go through a workshop on that, and you're going to see yourself in a different light. You're going to see everyone else on your table, and you're probably going to go for the next 2 days, what personality are truly you? And this might help you in your marriage, because if you want to get along with your partner really well, don't try to change them, understand them, because once you understand them, you'll be enlightened on actually how you can work with them. So that's my session, so hopefully we'll come back and get inspired a bit more.
Beautiful. Wonderful, guys. Round of applause for Tony Gattari.